All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Gunmala Kapoor. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is reaching Sri Lanka today to express solidarity with victims of Easter Sunday attacks and reaffirm India's neighbourhood first policy. Prime Minister Modi calls for a global meeting to eliminate terrorism and warns against state-sponsored terror activities. New Delhi and Male also decide to intensify economic and cultural relations. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu expresses concern over political discourse reaching a new low and calls for reversing the trend. In ICC World Cup Cricket today, India to take on Australia at the Oval. And in French Open tennis, Australian Ashleigh Barty clinches her first Grand Slam singles title, beating Czech Marketa Vondrousova in the women's final. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is reaching Sri Lanka today to express solidarity with the victims of the Easter Sunday attacks and to reaffirm India's neighbourhood first policy. He will become the first head of government to visit the country after the Easter attacks, which killed 258 people, including 45 foreigners. Unity in efforts for eradicating terrorism, maritime security in the Indian Ocean region, and cooperation in economic development are some of the key areas of bilateral discussion to be held when Prime Minister Modi has an official one-to-one meeting with Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The latter is scheduled to receive and see off Prime Minister Modi at the airport, signifying the close ties between the two neighbours and the importance attached by Sri Lanka to this visit. Mr. Modi will receive a ceremonial reception followed by a lunch where all cabinet ministers and provincial governors will be present. Leader of the opposition Mahinda Rajapaksa and Tamil leader R.A. Sampanthan will call on the Prime Minister during his stay. Mr. Modi will also meet and greet the Indian community staying in Sri Lanka before departing in the afternoon. Here is a report from our correspondent.
The increasing frequency of visits at the top levels between India and Sri Lanka is a pointer to the growing warmth between the two key maritime nations in the region. As the leader of the BIMSTEC nation, Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena took part in the swearing-in ceremony of Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently, where both the leaders met. India is partnering with Sri Lanka in several development initiatives in the island. Talks are also on to further expand the areas of cooperation. At this juncture, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit is set to catalyze the levels of partnerships to reach a new high. Jai Singh, AR News.
Prime Minister Modi will arrive at Tirumala to offer prayers at the famous hill shrine of Lord Venkateshwara after completing his Sri Lanka visit this evening. India and the Maldives have agreed to further enhance cooperation between the two countries and have decided to intensify economic and cultural relations. The two countries reviewed an array of bilateral relations during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's state visit to the Maldives yesterday. Prime Minister Modi and Maldives President Ibrahim Mohammed Solih laid emphasis on regional cooperation for development. The two leaders agreed on the need to harness the advantages of regional and sub-regional transport and connectivity, renewable energy, education, environment and sustainable development for mutual advantage. Briefing media, Foreign Secretary Vijay Gokhale informed that Prime Minister Modi and President Solih reaffirmed their unequivocal and uncompromising position against terrorism in all its forms, both within the region and elsewhere. He said India and the Maldives agreed on the importance of maintaining peace and security in the Indian Ocean region and to strengthen coordination in enhancing maritime security in the area. Earlier, addressing the Majlis, the Maldives Parliament, Mr. Modi called for a global meeting to eliminate terrorism and warned against state-sponsored terror activities.
आतंकवाद हमारे समय की एक बड़ी चुनौती है. ये खतरा एक देश या एक क्षेत्र के लिए नहीं, ये खतरा पूरी मानवता के लिए है. कोई दिन नहीं जब आतंकवाद कहीं किसी जगह अपना भयानक रूप दिखाकर किसी निर्दोष की जान न लेता. आतंकवाद की स्टेट स्पॉन्सरशिप सबसे बड़ा खतरा बना हुआ है। यह बहुत बड़ा दुर्भाग्य है कि लोग अभी भी गुड टेररिस्ट और बैड टेररिस्ट का भेद करने की गलती कर रहे हैं। पानी अब सर से ऊपर निकल रहा है। आतंकवाद की चुनौती से भली प्रकार से निपटने के लिए सभी मानवतावादी शक्तियों का एकजुट होना जरूरी है।
The Prime Minister stressed upon the need for working together to combat climate change issues and also for maintaining peace and calm in the Indian Ocean region. Mr. Modi said both nations have agreed upon a ferry service between Kochi and Male.
संपर्क बढ़ाने के लिए हम भारत में कोची और मालदीव में कुल्दुफुशी और माले के बीच नौका सेवा शुरू करने पर भी सहमत हुए हैं। मालदीव में रुपे कार्ड जारी करने से भारतीय टूरिस्ट की संख्या में और वृद्धि होगी। इस बारे में हम शीघ्र कार्यवाही करेंगे।
After delegation-level talks, India and the Maldives signed 5 memoranda of understanding and a technical agreement. The Prime Minister held a series of meetings with Maldivian leaders during the visit. Mr. Modi has been conferred the prestigious Order of Distinguished Rule of Nishan Izzuddin during the visit. A report from our correspondent.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's state visit to Maldives held significance in many ways. During his first overseas visit after assuming office for the second term, Mr. Modi could emphasize India's concerns by mentioning 3 major global challenges while addressing Majlis, Maldives Parliament. Though he raised India's strong voice against terrorism on many a forum earlier, his specific remarks about state-sponsored terrorism and call for concerted global action on the lines of Paris Climate Change Agreement sends clear signal for a need for an urgent global action against terrorism in all forms. With Jaya Singh Lakshmi from Mali.
Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal attended the G20 ministerial meeting on trade and digital economy in Japan yesterday. In a series of tweets, Mr. Goyal said he participated in discussions relating to increasing trade and cooperation to harness the potential of the digital economy. On the sidelines, he had a constructive interaction with Minister for Trade of South Korea, Yoo Myung-hee, in regard to exploring new avenues of trade cooperation between the two nations. The Janata Dal United National Executive Meeting is being held in Patna today to chalk out its future political strategy. Party President Nitish Kumar will chair this meeting. After starting the party's membership drive yesterday, Mr. Kumar said the JDU is an ally partner of the NDA in Bihar only, and the party is free for independent political activities in other states. Mr. Kumar said the party will fight on all assembly seats in Jharkhand separately. The Union Health Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan, has expressed deep anguish over the reply of Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal that the Delhi government will not implement the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana in Delhi. In a letter to Mr. Kejriwal, Dr. Harshvardhan said the response shows that the Chief Minister is least interested in the welfare of the people. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu has expressed concern over political discourse reaching a new low and called for reversing the trend. Addressing a function in Hyderabad yesterday, Mr. Naidu lamented over frequent disruptions in Parliament and state legislatures. He said that reducing legitimate forums to a disruptive platform was a clear negation of the vision of the constitution makers. Mr. Naidu said it is apathy towards the hopes and aspirations of the people and a betrayal of the people's faith in these pillars of democracy. The Vice President said that the nation must step up its relentless crusade against hunger, poverty, illiteracy, disease and translate the economic growth into happiness for the masses through good health, education, employment, improved infrastructure and amenities. Emphasizing on the need to further accelerate reforms, Mr. Naidu said the whole world was looking towards India for investments and stressed that it was time to accelerate the reforms initiated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to make India the third largest economy in the coming years. In Afghanistan, the Taliban have rejected a call for ceasefire by peace marchers known as the People's Peace Movement. The PPM said yesterday that the talks have revealed deep differences between the two sides. PPM members set off for a long march from the capital of the southern province of Helmand, Lashkargah, to the Taliban-controlled Musa Qala district to personally extend an appeal for a ceasefire. PPM leader Iqbal Khaibar, who was present at the talks, told a press conference that they discussed ceasefire issues, but a Taliban commander said they will announce a ceasefire once the US troops leave Afghanistan. Back home, the main event of International Day of Yoga 2019 celebrations will be held at Parbat Tara in Ranchi on the 21st of this month. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lead the main function. The Jharkhand government has planned to celebrate the day in a grand manner by organizing a week-long program. Speaking to media yesterday, Jharkhand Chief Minister Raghuvar Das said that the presence of Mr. Modi on International Yoga Day is going to be a great occasion for the state, as the Prime Minister will give a message from Ranchi to the whole world on yoga. More from our correspondent.
About 35,000 people will take part in Yoga Day event along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Ranchi in open air, for which people can do online registration at website www.yogadayindia.nic.in and get their e-gate pass printed by themselves. The e-gate pass will be generated after their online application gets security clearance. This year International Yoga Day of 21st June of Ranchi would be eco-friendly and hence Khadi yoga mat would be used in place of usual rubber mat. Rajesh Sinha, AIR News, Ranchi.
In ICC Men's Cricket World Cup, England beat Bangladesh by 106 runs in Cardiff last night. Earlier, Bangladesh won the toss and elected to field. England made 386 for the loss of 6 wickets, while Jason Roy scored a brilliant 153 off 121 balls. Joss Butler made 64. In another match, New Zealand defeated Afghanistan by 7 wickets at Taunton. New Zealand chased down the target of 173 runs in 32.1 overs. Today, India will take on Australia at the Oval at 3 in the afternoon. All India Radio will broadcast a ball-by-ball bilingual commentary alternately in Hindi and English from 2:30 p.m. onwards. This can be heard on the Rajdhani and FM Gold networks and DTH Hindi. In French Open tennis, Australian Ashleigh Barty won her first Grand Slam singles title after easing past Czech teenager Marketa Vondrousova in straight sets in the women's final. Number 8 seed Barty outclassed Vondrousova 6-1, 6-3 in 1 hour 10 minutes. In the men's singles, top seed Novak Djokovic saw his 26-match winning streak in Grand Slam snapped at the hands of 4th-seeded Dominic Thiem. And now for an overview of today's newspapers, it's over to Lalima Aneja Dang.
Thank you, Gunmala. Prime Minister Modi's first foreign visit after re-election to the Maldives has got wide coverage in this morning's papers. The Sunday Express quotes the Prime Minister as saying, "Terror, the biggest threat, need a global summit of leaders to combat it." The Asian Age headlines, "Onus for Peace on Pakistan," states the US. The Sunday Statesman reports that Prime Minister Modi and US President and Trump are scheduled to meet later this month in Osaka, Japan, during the G20 summit. Reporting on continuing uncertainty over Congress President's post, Sunday Times reports Rahul's status unclear, PCC's land in turmoil. The Financial Express reports that despite the relentless increase in its salary bill, the centre may go on a hiring spree to fill over 5 lakh vacancies in various central organizations over the next 2 years. And with that, it's back to you, Gunmala.
Thank you, Lalima. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is reaching Sri Lanka today to express solidarity with victims of the Easter Sunday attacks and to reaffirm India's neighbourhood first policy. Prime Minister Modi calls for a global meeting to eliminate terrorism and warns against state-sponsored terror activities. New Delhi and Male also decide to intensify economic and cultural relations. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu expresses concern over political discourse reaching a new low and calls for reversing the trend. In ICC World Cup Cricket today, India to take on Australia at the Oval. And in French Open tennis, Australian Ashleigh Barty clinches her first Grand Slam singles title, beating Czech Marketa Vondrousova in the women's final. And with that we end the morning news. Have a nice day.